Okay, hi guys, it's Erin here, and today I'm going to talk about my transition from living in halls in my first year and going into private accommodation for my second year. So during my first year I lived at Seething Wells, and the good features about that was that your bills were included in the rent, so you don't have to worry about how much electricity you were using. A good feature was the security, so you felt safe leaving sort of like your clothes and books and bits and bobs in your room when you went home for vacation. Also, say if you had like a noisy flatmate who was throwing a party at like 2 o'clock on a Tuesday morning and you needed to go to sleep for your like lectures at 9 o'clock in the morning, you could actually ring up security and like tell them the problem, and they'd come over and they'd sort of like sort of like ask the people who don't live there to leave, and they'd ask your flatmate to be a bit more quiet and considerate. Also, that gets logged as well, so if you kept having that problem and have to do that over and over again, eventually your flatmate would get into trouble with halls management. Also, the maintenance is quite good at halls, like so if there's something not quite working in your room or in your kitchen, you report that at reception and they fix it as soon as possible. Yeah, and you don't have to wait in your room to come and fix something in your room, because they have a key and they can just come and do it while you're at lectures or whatever. Also, they have a cleaning rota. I wouldn't guarantee that it keeps your kitchen clean all year round, because if you get charged if you don't do a job. So there are some people who do care about losing money, so will do their jobs, and there are other people who don't care about losing money from their deposit and don't do their job. So for whatever job isn't done, the cleaner will do, but bear in mind she will charge for it. There are kitchens who clean up like the night before a cleaning check, and then the day after cleaning check the kitchen is messy all week again. So bear in mind that you might have to put up with a messy kitchen sometimes if you're coming into halls. Also, there are clean kitchens and there are like sort of in-between kitchens, and then there are completely disgusting kitchens where the people never clean up, but don't let that put you off too much. Also, you don't get to choose who you live with. There are some people who get on amazingly well and become best friends, and there are some people who don't get on so well and fall out. So my top tip for your social situation at halls is to make as many friends as possible during your first few weeks outside your flat. So go to the barbecue that they usually have at halls during the move-in week, and just talk to as many people outside your flat as possible. So if you don't get on with your flatmate, you can just go and chill out at your friend's flat instead. There's like a mixture of flats as well. So there are like party flats, and there are quiet flats where no one comes out of their room to talk to each other. And there are like those flats with the perfect balance, they do their work, they have their meals in the evenings, and they also go out at the weekends and have fun. So yeah, everyone has like a different experience of halls. Also, you never stop meeting people as well, so I actually met more people in halls during my second semester than I did in my first. So yeah, some people love halls, some people hate halls. Personally, I'm glad I did halls during my first year, but it's not something that I'd do again. So this week I moved into a private accommodation, and I know some of you don't want to do halls and just want to go straight into private accommodation, and some of you will miss out on halls and have to go into private accommodation. So my top tips for getting a private accommodation is form a group of people that you're similar to. There's no point in someone who doesn't really like drinking too much and only goes out the weekends living with a 24/7 party person, because it just won't work and you won't get on. And also, getting a house in private accommodation tends to be more expensive than halls, because you usually just pay a deposit with halls, whereas in private accommodation, you've got to think about your deposit plus usually a month's rent in advance, and sometimes some people charge admin fees as well, so it's a bit more expensive in the beginning, although you actually might find cheaper rent in private accommodation than you do in halls. So when you go to look at the house, don't be rushed through your viewing. You know, be firm, like say, no, you want to check everything properly. The best resource when you go to view a house, if the current occupants are there, talk to them, because especially if their landlord isn't in earshot, they can like be really honest and like tell you, you know, what's good about the house, what's bad, tell you about little problems you can't see, tell you how good communication is when there's a problem between you and the landlord. Also ask them, like, if they're like a second year, ask them like why they're moving, and it could be like they didn't like the house, or it could be just that, you know, they want a cheaper rent up for their third year. So yeah. So also, like, the difference between rooms is that in private accommodation you go into a house and you might have a various sized room, whereas in halls everything's equal. So you might want to discuss with your group whether someone with the smaller room pays £5 less than someone with the bigger room. In terms of bills, in some private accommodation do include bills, some don't. So my top tip is just split the bill equal. Don't argue about who will use more than who. Just do it equal and you'll get along just fine. Also, don't worry if you don't get your first year of accommodation right, if you don't quite like the situation you're in. Your first year of studies is more about settling in, and when it comes to looking for second year accommodation, you'll know more people, you're more likely to move in with people you like, and you're more likely to get the kind of house that you would prefer. Also, for anyone who isn't going into halls, or you're not moving out of home at all, don't worry, you don't miss out on anything, you know. Like, yeah, you're not missing out, so don't worry about it. And so basically, I hope everyone enjoys living in halls or in private accommodation. And yeah, if you've got any more questions about this sort of topic, yeah, just ask me on my page, post a question, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thanks for watching, guys.